Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I've got a set review here for you. This is set number 4480, Jabba's Palace, and it came out in 2003. It came out with two proper minifigures, a Jabba figure, which I'm not sure to call it a big fig or a minifig, I'm not really sure. I think I'll call it a big fig. And then also three droid figures, one of them being a gonk droid, the other one being EV9D9, and then a spider-looking walker droid named Bomar Monk. This set originally retailed for $30 in the United States back in 2003, and it also connected with two other small sets which I think retailed for $7 each, and they were Jabba's Message and Jabba's Prize. Jabba's Prize being the Han Solo and Carbonite set, and Jabba's Message being the set that came with Bib Fortuna and the talking droid that came out of the door. So with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the review. As you can see, this set is a pretty good size. It comes with these minifigures as well as some play features for the minifigures. Okay, the first feature I want to show you is Luke falling through the trap door. All you have to do is push this stage that Jabba is sitting on with Leia. All you have to do is push it backwards. And what would have happened originally had this set been brand new is the rubber bands would have pulled the stage back into place and you would have had to retract it and it would come back by itself. Unfortunately, I have some new rubber bands and they're a little bit too strong for this set, so I had to go ahead and remove them really quick to show you that play feature. But like I said, you have Luke falling through the trapdoor where he goes into the Rancor pit in the film. But in this set, I can show you by opening this up, all he does is fall down here, which I suppose is good enough for the set itself, but obviously not very true to the film. But they did release a Rancor pit set in the newer version of the Jabba's Palace, well, to connect with the newer version of Jabba's Palace, and I think that LEGO did a really good job with that one. This one, they did an okay job, and I think for 2003, it's really good. So with the set I'll open up, I'll go ahead and show you that Luke falling through the trapdoor play feature again. Like I said, all you have to do is push the stage back, and down he goes through the door. And I think it's a really good play feature overall. I think LEGO for 2003, they did a good job. And while we have the set opened up, I wanted to go ahead and show you the other play feature of this set, which is this control panel here. You can have this droid controlling it, as well as throw in these droids here. And then you can see that they go ahead and just do pretty much whatever he says. And in the movie, they actually have a gonk droid being flipped upside down and his feet being burned. And I think it's rather entertaining, to be honest. So this droid I think looks really cool. He's you barely see it in the movie. He's just walking in the back of a hallway, just like kind of creepy, walking around. But then I'm assuming this is supposed to be the control panel where he burns the gonk droid's feet with. I don't know for sure if that's what LEGO wants you to do with it, but I think that's what I would do with it if I was a kid still. But anyway, those are the main play features of this set. And I forgot to show you, the way that you open the set up is, so here when it's closed, you have this little piece here that's connecting these two halves. And what you do is remove that, and then the set is able to be opened up. I think I like the set opened up a little bit better because when you turn it around, you have the staircase on both sides. And I know that's not quite accurate to the film, but I think that the staircase on both sides looks good. It looks nice and they don't stick out as much as they do like here, and I think that it's cool that they go to two separate platforms versus one big platform. Okay, we'll go ahead and take a closer look at the stage here. As you can see, it's a fairly simple build it's basically just a platform with some bricks underneath where Leia and Jabba are able to sit, and you have this chain that is connecting Leia to the platform itself so that she can't escape because she is being held captive in this sequence. The original set came with a mini frog that you're supposed to put in this little thing, and I had it and I'm not sure where it went. It'll turn up eventually, I'll be able to find it, but so that's what goes in there. And then this little thing is I think it's like a hookah type thing that Jabba smokes, I'm not really sure. But anyway, turning the set around, you can see there's not much going on back here other than these two things, and you may be wondering what they're for. And these are to connect the Jabba's Prize and the Jabba's Message set. They just clip onto both sides with these Technic pins, and it looks very good all together. Unfortunately, I'm not able to show you them all together because I don't have all of the sets built and ready to go. I would have done it, but I completely took them apart and built better versions of them. They're actually mocks that I've done that I plan on doing Mini Mock Monday videos on. So that's why I don't have them to show. But since we've taken a look at the set, let's go ahead and take a look at the minifigures now. Alright, and moving on to the Slug himself. Here we have our very first iteration of Jabba the Hutt. This is Jabba the Hutt from 2003, so keep that in mind as I'm going through it. As you can see that there is no printing here at all on this figure. I think this figure looks good enough as it is for 2003, but I think the newer version with the printing and in the right color looks a lot better. Speaking of color, this one is in that sand green color that I think actually for 2003 suits Jabba very nicely. I think that it's cool that he matches the Gamorrean guards that come in the sets that connect to Jabba's palace. And overall, I think that for 2003, LEGO did a good enough job with this Jabba. Another thing of note is his hands. They are not regular minifigure hands. They are actually the same hands that come on the Hagrid minifigure that came out later in, I think, the late 2000s. They have the finger molds, which I think is really interesting, especially for Jabba because he's a big slug. So I think that's really interesting that LEGO did that. But overall, I'd say that this is a good figure. Okay, moving on, and we have LEGO's first version of the Bomar Monk. There's not too much to say about this figure other than its very interesting look, which is obviously based on the interesting look of the creature in the film. I think LEGO did a really good job interpreting that figure in LEGO. As you can see, they used a couple of ninja swords to make up the legs, which I think work really well. My favorite thing is that centerpiece, that orange, is just a stud. It's just a single stud inside that clear piece that magnifies it and changes the shape of it. So it looks really good overall, I think, and LEGO did a really good job with this Bomar Monk. Up next, we have our very first version of Jedi Luke Skywalker. As you can tell from his two yellow hands, this is from early in the film before he gets his hand shot and ends up putting on his glove to give us the figure with one black hand and one yellow hand. I think it's cool that LEGO paid attention to this detail and included two different versions of Luke Skywalker from this year. Overall, this is kind of a basic looking figure. His torso print is pretty plain, but I think it looks good enough. And his face is actually the same face that you get with Obi-Wan Kenobi from the same year. So there's nothing too special about this fig. I think overall, it's just pretty good. Next up, we have the first version of Slave Leia. As you can tell, this is Leia when she's being held captive by Jabba the Hutt, and she's forced to wear that gold bikini. This figure, I think, is really unique for this year because Leia actually has printing on her waist as well as her legs, and it matches up really well. LEGO only did this a handful of times in the early years, and I think that this was one of the better ones. I think that the figure overall looks really good. And as you can see on her hips there, they tried to do the negative space, but it looks a little bit weird in the yellow color scheme. But overall, I'd say that LEGO did a really good job with this figure. Okay, next up we have EV9D. As you can see, this is a pretty basic looking droid. The only thing is that he is made up of red and gray battle droid parts, and then he's got an interesting head connection. So as you can tell, his head is actually printed upside down and then placed into a clip piece to clip onto the droid body. And I think that it looks good enough, and I think LEGO did actually a really good job with the color matching of this figure and then the printing on his face. While it looks a little wonky, it's actually pretty accurate to the film and makes the droid look even creepier than he is in the movie. Okay, and last up we have a Gonk droid. This is a regular Gonk droid molded in the old gray plastic, and it has a very basic printing on the front. Actually, this is made out of a mailbox piece that came out in the early LEGO Town sets, and I think it works really well for the Gonk droid with those little buildable legs on the bottom. Overall, nothing too special here, and LEGO just did a good enough job with the Gonk droid, and I'm glad they included it in this set. Alright, that's going to do it for my review of Jabba's Palace. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, leave a like on the video and subscribe to my channel to see more. Like I always say, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll be back very soon with more uploads.